Good morning. How is everybody doing this fine morning? I seem to have got something wrong with my speech. I keep saying the wrong words. Anyway, let me attempt to do this live. How is everybody doing this absolutely beautiful morning? I hope it's like that with you. You just assume when it's sunny where you are that everybody else is getting the same sunshine. But I've realised that that's not always been the case. We've been super, super lucky. I'm just going to edit a couple of these things. So yeah, I wanted to come on and talk about beliefs, because I think it's just so interesting. You know, as most of you who follow me know, I've been studying the Bible, and what's been really interesting about that is actually having to look at my own beliefs. What have I been believing, and is it true? And does it serve me? And what I realised was after Joanna was diagnosed, which was such a very, very difficult time, was that my friend bought me the Celestine Prophecy because they could see that I was really struggling to come to terms with this. And that really was a massive help. So I read that and it kind of made sense. But more than making sense, it allowed me to have a different perspective on why horrendous things happen. And instead of just kind of wanting to give up, which really was the situation for a while, where you're just like, what is the point in all this if all that's going to happen is you're going to have to suffer like this, watch a child die? That just doesn't seem to be much of a life at all. So I started to believe in reincarnation and soul journeys, because I thought, well, if that would make more sense, if at some level we chose this and we do not understand why and we wish we hadn't, because that's the challenging thing about taking on that belief system. But then I thought, well, if I believe that at some level part of me agreed to come and have this experience with these people, it takes me out of the victim perpetrator model, which I was very deeply in. And so then it's more empowering, right? And you can navigate. If you say, right, okay, let me assume that at some level I chose this, and this pain, this abuse, whatever it is that you've experienced. And I certainly think, one of your kids getting terminally ill and watching that is up there with the worst torture ever. So if you can pan back and go, right, okay, everything happens for a reason. So I have to just let the pain ease a little bit so that I can move forward. And, I know a lot of women now. I've spoken to them very personally and privately about how it feels and how long it takes to even to be able to function again. But at some level, you can, well, one, believe that you're going to see them again at some point, and believe that there's a much higher thing going on. And I'm not saying that's easy to believe, but that's what I chose to believe. And then I start studying the Bible. And that belief gets not challenged, but this is another narrative to believe. So I was a bit like, what? But that's definitely true. And I go out obviously looking for evidence that past lives is a thing. And then I have to contemplate, is that just another story that makes us feel safe? Now, I think just if we can choose what to believe, choose something nice. So I'm not letting go of that belief yet, because I definitely believe that there is, I definitely believe in an afterlife, and I definitely believe that this is all playing out for some higher reason. I don't know what it is. I get more and more confused by the day. I know less and less by the day rather than more and more. And even the things that I stand by, like great nutrition and, letting go and all of these things. You watch Joe Dispenza's documentary and people are just getting real-time healings. Now, don't get me wrong, you still have to stay well, even if you get the healing. we move out of alignment with nature, I believe, then I think there's universal laws like gravity, for example. And when we decide that we don't want to live within that law, well, you could get hurt, right? So I just see it like that. There's just universal laws, and we can choose to live within them or out with them. And I think most of us are starting to see now. We had the golden years, the great fun of doing whatever the hell we wanted, but was there a price to pay for that? And as my Bible teachers say, they walk a narrow road, whereas I certainly know I just did whatever I wanted to do. And does that bring you happiness and peace? No. So is there another way, a better way? And it always comes down to this thing we have called free will. And if you don't believe that nutrition plays a part in health, which some people don't, it's hard for me to believe that you would think you can eat all these chemicals and sugars and rancid fats and that wouldn't have an impact in your health. But that's some people's reality. And sometimes I really do genuinely think ignorance is bliss. The more you know, the more there is to worry about because we're so out of alignment with Mother Nature's ways. So if we believe what we believe, that you should eat a good diet, it should be nice to other humans, blah, 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 all the things that we kind of tap into. But then obviously comes the responsibility of actually doing these things and a willingness to explore our beliefs without getting triggered. And it's so interesting, that what triggers people that I would never expect. You're just like, what? How could you look at a study around healthy eating for kids and want to attack that? It makes no sense to me, but I've just, it turns out, seem to have a different logic than a lot of other people. Why would we, we know that putting on a seatbelt in a car with the data shows that you're more likely to survive a car crash. So you would just put on your seatbelt. Probably you wouldn't feel safe now without the seatbelt, but certainly we used to drive around without seatbelts. Look at the state of my hair, it's driving me nuts. So it's how the beliefs change, etc. Nobody used to drink water and now everybody's drinking water. Our beliefs change and move. We're usually pretty clunky. We're not going to actually just take on something and believe it very quickly. We need a wee bit of data. We need some confirmation. And there needs to be desire to think, well, what I'm doing is not working. What can we do to help it? And it seems to me, if you look out at the burgeoning rates of chronic disease in our country, and it's not just our country, but let's look at our country first, then what we're doing is not working. Clearly, it's not working. So why would you keep doing it? So forget about the experts and the scientists and what the BBC are saying and what the internet's saying. Just look in your community and think, do things need to change here? And I think most of us understand that things do need to change, but that means we need to change. And changing is the thing that makes it really hard. And then when you get cornered, and I saw this when I ran the community, when people get cornered into doing this perceived right things, they get onto defense and they attack. So, and now what we're understanding about triggers is that when you're triggered, that's your responsibility, not anybody else's. So your anger is your responsibility. And we know they deliberately try to instigate two emotions, anger and fear. Why? Because you can be controlled in these states. Now, watch Cambridge Analytica if you don't believe me. It's applied psychology. Look at Matt Hancock's WhatsApp messages. It's clear. It's in plain sight. We've been manipulated and played. And for some reason, we want to hang on to the past because we don't want to maybe admit that we were wrong. That takes a lot of courage. And I have to take my hat off to Piers Morgan. He publicly said that on Tucker Carlson's podcast, or maybe it was his own, that he was wrong. So of course we get it wrong sometimes, because how can you possibly get it right all the time unless you're an enlightened being? So there's nothing wrong with getting it wrong and going, oh, wow, now that I've got more information, I'm willing to look at this. So with our beliefs, and my big passion is when it comes to healing, what are you believing about your body? Do you believe you can heal? Or do you believe that you're going to die? If somebody told you were going to die, would you just blindly take that on based on the evidence that they believe that they're seeing? Now, surely nowadays, there's enough people defying the odds and healing the alleged incurable and terminal that you would at least be going, what if I too could heal? And even if it's really incurable and really terminable, because all the concepts and labels will be diseases you think you can heal from. That's just a small disease, a cold. And then there'll be the big, huge diseases that you'll really think you can't heal from. And why do you think that? Why have we believed that? Because of all the information we've been given and that we've believed. And I know that a lot of doctors now are coming out and the lifestyle medicine things taken on, and and a lot of doctors are understanding with long COVID in all its myriad of forms, jabbed and unjabbed, there's no pill to help people with that. You can maybe manage the pain symptoms, but who wants to be taking pain medication? So what was really interesting for me when they had the vaccine injured retreat here, because I realised I'd gone down a rabbit hole with it, believing that you can't come back from it. And then I was like, what are you doing? You think you can heal stage 4 cancer, but you don't believe you can heal vaccine damage because the spike proteins, and we've all got spike proteins, let's face it, because we're all one. Some of us are more poisoned than others, simple as that. But there's always hope. And what are we going to do? Sit around and just believe the game's over, they won, we're getting depopulated, the end, blah, 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 no chance. The human spirit will blow you away. And it's very often only when we get put under enough pressure that we turn into a diamond. And that, I truly believe that's what's happening here. The spirit, despite what all these people that came here had been through, their spirit's still shining through. They're looking for solutions. And here's what I believe. It's quantum physics. When we, the people, collectively start looking for the solutions to this, and it might be that as simple as connecting to the source energy, whatever you want to call that, we will succeed. I have absolutely not a shred of doubt around that. My biggest issue always is to get people to believe that they can do it. And this did not happen overnight for me. I didn't just suddenly go, all right, let's out with the old and in with the new. It's been a 30-year process. I don't recommend that you wait that long to really educate yourself on the incredible stuff that's going on in the energy medicine world and people that are defying the odds. And here is the really, really fascinating part about beliefs, is our collective beliefs. And still we're in two camps. Don't take that, don't say that. Take it, do as you're told. And other ones like, are you kidding me on? Keep away from these dark entities, but don't tell anybody that you're doing it. Keep it a secret, because there's the warring worlds of take the drugs, don't take the drugs. Take the jab, don't take the jab. And all the people in between who get caught in the crossfire and did the right thing. So we've got these extremes, me over here in this extreme, keep away from these entities. Over here, go take this and do the right thing, and then all the people kind of in between. And regardless of whether it was the COVID mandates, I've been in this game for decades, because when you go to the doctor or the hospital, there's two things they can give you: drugs or surgery. That's it. And a dietitian is not a nutritionist. They focus on calories primarily. and all the other things, the childhood trauma, the shocks that we know from Roger Hamer's work, the frequencies that we know from Rife and Nogier. There is so much information out there, tried, tested, and proven, that you are not getting. And that's why I set up Heal Scotland. So what you choose to believe, now maybe you don't want to believe that you can heal yourself. You're happy with the labels and the stories and the concepts. Fine. I really, really do think that must be quite a nice place to be. But if you, like me, are waking up and going, well, my pal took that treatment didn't really look that attractive to me. I don't want to do this. I would rather there was another way. Well, that is the people, you're the people that I want to talk to and want to give all this information out. The decades of research that I have done, and it's not just cancer, it's not just MS, Parkinson's, all of these dis-eases, states of dis-ease. Do you think for a minute that why is it they say, well, because all a disease name is a bundle of symptoms. So take arthritis, for example. Painful joints, that's what it is. But as soon as you give it a label and you accept the label, I've got my arthritis. I'm telling you, I healed my arthritis. You may not want to hear how, and you may not want to go into the cold water, and you may not want to eat more vegetables and take some essential fats, because that's how I did it. And that was 11 years ago. So you may not want to do these things, and that's absolutely your right. Take the pills, that's fine. I don't care what anybody does. All I do care about is the people that are seeking solutions, that maybe feel on their own, breaking free from this model that you have to do as you're told, and that you're actually going, but there's more to this. There's some part of you, some part of your heart is stirring and going, but really, do I have to be in pain? Is there something else I could do? And the amount of people that say to me when they've said, what should I do? Oh, there's nothing you can do. Even when it is as simple as arthritis, and I mean osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis is a different ballgame, but the aging arthritis is just rust. And there's so many things that you can do to ease your symptoms. It's just not even funny. And I was saying this to my autoimmune and chronic disease group. There are people suffering right now, maybe even you watching this, because they don't know what to do. They don't know that they're rusty, they're dehydrated, they've got a poor essential fat profile, that the minerals are getting eaten by parasites, worms, etc. So you rock up at the doctor in pain, and what are you going to get? A new joint or painkillers. That's pretty much it, unless you're very lucky, and I know that there are really good doctors out there that are starting to give this advice. But in general, you won't get that. And also, the other thing that's happening, and I asked everyone that was damaged by the jab, what's the worst thing about it? And you know the worst thing about it is the lack of acknowledgement. La, 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 we're just going to kid on, that didn't happen. Do you know how much more difficult that makes it for people that have been damaged by a pharmaceutical drug? And it's not just the jab, not just that jab, loads of them, and medications that are making people worse rather than better. So it's your responsibility to decide what you're going to put in there. And if you know about breath work, about visualization, about meditation, about connection to nature, about the power of the trees to increase your natural killer cells, all that information's free. It's all free. And if you don't want to try that, that's absolutely your prerogative. But if you are fed up being a victim and you think your body is working against you, it's not. This body is beyond intelligence. It made itself. This body made itself with the divine spark of life that you are. So why is it so difficult for people to believe that they're so powerful, that they have power over this body? Stop taking on the labels and concepts from the completely outdated model of physics. Take on the new, it's not even new, it's ancient. That's the other thing that bugs me. This is not new information. When we were writing the book, I had to go back and research and make sure everything I was saying was backed by science. But the reality is, science can only prove what was already true. our lack of faith in a higher and lack of respect for nature. We've changed the water. We think we know better. We've changed the soil, greed. It's just like madness what we've done. And these indigenous tribes that work with the cycles and with the seasons and with nature, they stay well. But not us. We're blacking out the natural light. We're lighting up the natural dark. We're changing everything. We're putting sunscreens and products and glasses and hats, and we're keeping ourselves indoors doing shitty jobs that we don't even like, trapped by financial restraints in the place that you live. It's bonkers what we're doing. So what are you believing? Are you believing you're powerless? Or are you believing you're powerful? Are you believing that you have a place here on this earth at this time to be part of the change? Or are you believing that you're here to defend the systems? Because it really seems to me to be as simple as that. What is it that we're believing? And can I believe the opposite of you and still hang out with you and have a laugh and have a debate and a conversation about the new story, the new earth you're hearing all about, and about understanding the electromagnetic side to the body, which really is the game changer in terms of beliefs. People are getting real-time healings. People are curing the alleged incurable and terminal. That's a fact. So why don't we, the masses, start putting our belief over there? Because see, the collective belief, and I said this about darling Danielle that passed nearly a year and a few months ago. She was 23. She was put into a place where nobody believed she could heal, because that was the only option. And I've pondered this. What if she was in a place with 30 or 40 people that truly believed she could heal? Because see, when somebody doesn't believe you, you can feel it off them. They don't need to say a word. Imagine the collective power of believing in your ability to heal. That's what Heal Scotland is going to create. So that if you came to a healing oasis, everybody would know that you had the potential to heal. Everybody in there would believe that from their boots, because they wouldn't be able to be there if they didn't. If they didn't have confidence in God, the divine, blah, 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 this higher power, then they probably, if they believed in a reductionist, convergent model that we're currently working in, they couldn't be in the Heal Scotland Healing Oasis. How different would that feel for you to be in a place where everybody believed to be in nature, knowing about the trees, knowing about the power, the free flow of electrons that comes from the power, knowing about your meridian system and your energy system, not just believing, knowing deep down within you that you are indestructible. And if you watch Joe Dispenza's documentary, this is one of the things that really hit me like a ton of bricks the last time. We are predicting our reality. But the thing is, we're allowing other people to predict. That's what a prognosis is. It's a prediction of your future, and you can choose to take that on or not. Now, I've always said this, I don't know how smart I would be if they said to me, you've got 3 months to live. Would I be able to unhear that and prove them wrong? I don't know. That's why I've got no intention of going anywhere near anybody that would tell me that, because I don't know how smart I would be. So that's my strategy. Stay away if at all possible. I do not want to be given a negative narrative around my body. How smart am I? Do I really truly believe that I'm a child of the universe with an innate power to heal? And the only thing that can destroy me is believing that I can be destroyed and that the body can be destroyed. It's a great debate, don't you think? It's a phenomenal thing to talk about. And especially in a time where chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, MS, Parkinson's, long COVID, all of these labels, and I don't mean that in any derogatory way, because we need to use them in the current system. But trust me, the Healing Oasis will not have labels and stories like that. the Healing Oasis will be pure potential in the field, pure possibility for you, and letting go of all these labels and concepts that you've strived to achieve, because that's the only way we can be free. The labels keep you stuck, and that's a very dangerous quantum to be in the quantum field. This is me, I have this, I have got this. That's the story, and that can keep you stuck. So when you say you can change the language around it, you start to see it differently. I'm experiencing this at this moment in time. There's fatigue there, there's pain there, there's frustration there, there's rage there, there's a feeling of that I'm a victim of the body right now because it's not able to do the things I want to do. All of that's relevant and fair. But then where do you want to go from here? And unfortunately in our system, unless you get all these labels, you ain't going to get any help financially or emotionally. So that's why it works to play that game, but don't buy into it. Anyway, I'm rabbling on and on and on here, but you know it's my passion. We have the power to heal. I know that. See the healings that we've seen happening here. It blows me away. Even Fiona, that's been helping with turning the rooms round, Fiona said, bloody hell, you're doing something right. The difference when people leave, because she sees them when they're arriving and then when they're leaving. I mean, how amazing is that? This land is blow your socks off. It's absolutely incredible. But everything we are doing here is simple and free. Obviously, we've got John Angus here, which is just a godsend, delivering this incredible food. But she's sharing all the recipes. You can go home and do it yourself. And tribe up with a few like-minded others and make each other food. You don't need to be cooking every night. Tribe up and do the supper club. Get 5 of you together. You do it on Monday, I'll do it on Tuesday. You make it easy. Find ways to make this life easier until we can get back to these strong, resilient communities where the human spirit is just flying and shining through. Because that's what I believe in. And let me talk about the festivals that are coming up. March in Broadford and Skye, and you get a smorgasbord of Scotland's wild medicine, teachers, healers, leaders. Check out the website, healscotland.com/events. We're in Skye in March. We're in Tarbert in April, and I'm looking to be in Strontian in October with another festival. Keep your eyes peeled for that too on the site. Subscribe to our events calendar, it's free, and you'll get kept up to date, not just with what we're doing, but all our members are doing as well. So yeah, have a wonderful weekend. I am going to be learning about Bach flower remedies and tissue salts. So I'm very, very intrigued and excited about that. So I hope you guys are doing something nice and fun. Get out and enjoy this beautiful day, and I'll chat to you soon. Ciao. And remember, spread the love, share the word, share the website, share the events. Ciao.